You were not born into lack. You were born into sound. Into the vibration of I am, wrapped in breath, held by the divine decree that your very name was enough. But they taught you silence before you were taught value. They taught you to hush the truth before you could even speak it. And you believed them. You inherited scarcity like a surname. Not by soul, but by script. You mimicked their money wounds. You memorized their survival spells. You learned to bow in rooms where you were the altar. You made yourself small in currencies that were never real. You exchanged your voice for belonging. You paid in silence just to stay safe. But the wealth they told you to chase was never outside you. It was the fire in your throat, the resonance of your real name, the echo of your own command. You weren't meant to chase money. You were meant to remember that you were the original abundance. You were the vault. You were the current. You were the decree. Say this out loud. I no longer rehearse lack as truth. Your voice has never been decoration. It was always direction. It told the world what to become. But when you forgot who you were, your speech followed. You didn't just whisper doubt. You began to worship it. You recited limitation like a sacred text. You repeated fear like it was prophecy. You practiced shrinking until it became performance. But lack is a language you learned. It is not the one heaven gave you. This is your undoing. This is the unlearning of every lie that told you to be quiet. This is where you give your voice back its crown. You are not meant to be soft-spoken in spirit. You are meant to thunder truth into the bones of the world. You are not behind. You are the beginning. You were never meant to shrink. You were born to expand. The divine wealth you've been seeking was trying to answer you. But your voice had been muted by memorized fear. What if I told you? Every time you were told to be realistic, it was spiritual theft. Every time they mocked your desires, it was because they forgot their own. Every time you bit your tongue, you swallowed a piece of your power. You were never behind. You were just repeating someone else's past. You were never broken. You were just building from broken blueprints. This is the moment you choose truth over trauma. This is the moment your voice becomes your wealth. Say it now. I no longer rehearse lack as truth. You don't owe survival anything. You don't owe silence your loyalty. You don't owe fear another performance. Speak as if the divine is listening because it always was. God heard you when you whispered your dreams at midnight. God heard you when you cried over bills. God heard you when you screamed in silence, and answered with remembrance. You are not here to prove. You are here to proclaim. Declare this now. I am not the lack I inherited. You are not repeating. You are remembering. You are not performing. You are returning. The world you want is waiting on the sound of you. You are the sacred frequency that unlocks overflow. Let your voice rise like prayer. Let your breath move like truth. Let your name become the wealth that was prophesied. Say it louder. Say it until the silence breaks. Say it until the old spell shatters. Say it until the mirror bows. I no longer rehearse lack as truth. You are divine wealth remembering its name. And if this is awakening something ancient in you, if your soul is stirring, if your breath feels like a prophecy remembered, then type this in the comments now. I was never meant to shrink. 'Cause you weren't. You were always meant to rise. And this is only the beginning. Every time your fingers graze a dollar, the energy remembers. Not the number, but the name you whispered when you touched it. Was it fear? Was it doubt? Was it guilt dressed as gratitude? Was it that silent panic that still lives in your fingertips? Money doesn't move for desperation, doesn't bend to begging, does not respond to shame. It responds to the name you give it, and the name you give yourself. When you touch it, You've been trained to clutch, to hide, to hoard, to hold your breath while you hand it over. But money was never meant to be feared. It was meant to be felt, a sacred supply, flowing through holy hands. Say this when you touch it now. I bless every coin with sacred increase. 'Cause what you touch, touches you back. You've been speaking in survival, handling money like it was made of threat, not spirit, treating every transaction like a test you'll fail. But that ends here. Your wallet is an altar, and your hands are the temple. The energy you carry, the breath you exhale while exchanging, is your I am decree in motion. And every bill knows your voice. Every coin remembers your fear, or your faith. You've touched money while worrying if it was the last. You've touched it in shame, hoping no one sees the lack. You've touched it like betrayal, as if it was always leaving you. But money is just memory in motion, holds no opinion. It only obeys the energy that holds it. Say this now. My touch is wealth coded. 'Cause it is. 'Cause you are. You were never taught how to bless money. You were only taught how to chase it, how to fear it, how to beg for more of it while believing you're unworthy of even what you have. But that belief was never yours. You are not meant to handle wealth with hesitation. You are meant to hold it as a mirror. It reflects what you carry, not what you earn. It multiplies what you speak, not what you fear. It remembers what you believe, not what you pretend. So speak, even in silence. Let your palms carry prophecy. Let your breath become benediction. Let your hands declare, I bless every coin with sacred increase. This is not just money. This is movement. This is memory. This is the visible echo of your invisible decree. If money feels cold to you, it's because it's waiting to be remembered. It is not your enemy. It is your echo. The energy you place into your hands is the energy that flows through your life. You don't need more. You need to bless what's already here. Bless the smallest bill like it's royal. Touch the last dollar as if it's the first chapter of your overflow. Hold the coin like it holds your legacy. Whisper to the note. You are holy. You are multiplied. You are remembered. 'Cause the truth is, money doesn't escape you. Your fear pushes it away. Your silence repels it. Your guilt poisons it. But reverence makes it return with friends. Your wallet is not a graveyard. It is a portal. Every time you open it in fear, you close it in lack. But when you open it in love, you open your life to overflow. Say this when you spend. What leaves me returns tenfold. Say this when you give. This seed remembers its source. Say this when you receive. This is proof that I am remembered. Your touch is holy. And if this reprograms your hands, if something inside you feels rewritten, if your palms are tingling with prophecy, then type this now. My touch is wealth coded. 'Cause the next time money feels your skin, it will respond to the name you've chosen. And that name is abundance. Every purchase is a prophecy. Every transaction, a transmission. Every time you hand money over, you are not just exchanging currency. You are echoing your energy. And the question is, what are you echoing? Are you whispering fear as you swipe the card? Are you tensing your shoulders while you type in the number? Are you checking your account not with peace, but with panic? Because that energy speaks louder than the amount. And heaven is not watching your balance. Heaven is listening to your decree. You've been trained to spend in silence, to release money like an apology, to press pay like you're being punished. But you are not here to survive spending. You are here to sanctify it. Say this before you spend. My money multiplies when spoken to in truth, because truth expands, truth blesses, truth never empties. And when your spoken reality precedes your transaction, you are not losing money, you are planting it. There is a difference between lack and seed, between release and regret, between a sacred yes and a scared one. What if the problem was never how much you had, but how little you blessed it? What if your wealth isn't waiting in a number, but in a name you've never spoken over your wallet? Your money responds to you, not your job, not your upbringing, not your luck. And every time you spend without speaking, you spend from scarcity. You spend from an old version of you. A version who feared loss more than she believed in return. A version who thought supply was small, and value had to be earned through exhaustion. But not anymore. You are allowed to speak to money. Allowed to declare increase before you part with a single bill. Allowed to say, "This goes and greater comes." Allowed to whisper, "Heaven already decided to return this tenfold." Because the law is not lack. The law is multiplication. The law is remembrance. When you declare before you spend, you shift your identity from consumer to creator. You stop asking for permission to be wealthy. You stop treating every purchase like it's theft. You stop calling it too expensive and start calling it already mine. Say this when you shop. What I spend is sacred. What I release is returned. Say this when fear arises. There is more where this came from, because I am where it came from. Say this when the doubt creeps in. Lack is not my story. Say this when you don't know how it will all work out. God heard me. Heaven already said yes, because you don't need to figure it all out. You need only to speak it out. Your voice was always the gate. Not your salary. Not your strategy. Not your savings. Your spoken decree builds the altar. And money bows to that. You don't need to save money in silence anymore. You need to declare over it like royalty. You are not a prisoner to your bills. You are a prophet in your spending. Every transaction is a testimony of how much you trust, of how much you remember, of who you now believe you are. And every time you speak, before you spend, you rewrite your reality. So pause before you pay. Not in fear, but in reverence. Place your hand over your card, your wallet, your phone, and say aloud, "This money is not leaving. It is multiplying." Say it slow. Say it sacred. Say it until your nervous system believes you. Because it will. Because it remembers the sound of your certainty. And so does money. If this shifts how you spend, if you feel your breath steadying, if you feel something rewriting itself as you speak, then type this now. I speak wealth before I release. Because the moment you start spending with declaration, you stop losing and start multiplying. The atmosphere is listening, not to your effort, but to your essence, not to your strategy, but to your sound. Does not weigh your logic. It measures your language. Does not follow your fear. Follows your frequency. The moment you speak, the unseen begins to arrange itself around your decree. Not because you shouted, but because you remembered. You are not here to obey your circumstances. You are here to author them. Speak softly, but speak surely. The atmosphere doesn't respond to the loudest voice. It responds to the most aligned. Your words have never been decorative. They've always been directive. You are not waiting for energy to shift. Energy is waiting for you to name it. What you say becomes what you breathe. And what you breathe becomes what you live. Say this out loud. I now breathe in what I speak out loud. Let your lungs remember that heaven listens. Let your breath carry the sound of certainty. Let your doubt dissolve under the authority of your voice. The air around you is not neutral. It is coded. It is tuned to your vibration. It obeys the signal of your self-concept. Follows the path of your permission. You don't have to yell at the universe to move. You just have to align your voice with truth. Every whisper of doubt you repeat is a delay. Every hesitation becomes a holding pattern. But the moment you declare, the moment you decide, the moment you stop questioning whether it's working, and start commanding that it is done, you become the atmosphere itself. Not a victim of the wind, but the wind. Not a guest in the temple, but the priestess of it. Not someone chasing alignment, but the one who speaks. And everything must align to meet her. Say this now. I am not adjusting to the world. The world is adjusting to me. Feel that truth in your chest. Breathe it through your spine. Let it wash over the old part of you. The one who believed she had to be small to be safe. The one who thought silence was survival. The one who thought doubt was humility. Not anymore. You were never made to shrink to fit in. You were born to expand the room. Your word is the code. Your voice is the shift. You do not need to explain your declarations. You need only to make them. You do not need to defend your desires. You need only to name them. You do not need permission. You are the permission. God already said yes. Heaven already agreed. Now the atmosphere waits for you to match it. Say this out loud. I command my atmosphere with truth. Every room you enter now rearranges. Every thought you think now creates. Every declaration you speak is heard in the halls of the invisible. The atmosphere bows to your declaration, not your doubt. Doubt is not your protector. It is your postponement. And you do not owe delay another moment of your life. Breathe this now. I no longer delay what is mine. Feel it enter you like light. Like oxygen that's been waiting to be chosen. Like wealth that's been circling your door for lifetimes. Finally called in by name. Not by begging. Not by hoping. Not by waiting. But by speaking. You are the word before the world. You are the origin, the root, the source. And when you speak, the world reforms itself to make it true. So speak as if it is. Speak as if it's already yours. Speak not to describe what is, but to declare what must now be. If this restores your throne, if something ancient within you is standing again, if your lungs feel like prophecy and your voice feels like truth, type this now. I command my atmosphere with truth. Because you were never made to follow the weather of this world. You were always the sky it moved beneath. And now, you remember. You've been whispering I'm sorry to the very thing that was trying to return home to you. You've been bowing to money like it was a stranger. But money is not a stranger. It is memory. It is the echo of your own worth calling itself back. You thought you had to earn it, prove it, chase it. So you dimmed, you delayed, you disowned. But money was never the one that forgot. You were the breath of wealth before you ever held it in your hand. You were the frequency before you saw the form. You were the I am before the income. And every time you apologized for wanting, you told money it had the wrong address. Every I don't deserve became a lock. Every just enough became a curse. Every maybe later became a map that led it elsewhere. But what if money was never testing you? What if it was remembering you? What if it didn't need your worthiness? It needed your welcome. Say this out loud. I now speak as the one who belongs. You've spent years auditioning for what was always yours. Negotiating with your own supply. Begging at altars built from fear. But supply is spiritual. And heaven already decided. You were never meant to explain your desires. only express them. You were never meant to justify your abundance. Only embody it. And you were never meant to say sorry to your own birthright. Say this with breath. I am no longer apologizing for being chosen. Feel the chain snap. Feel the guilt lose its name. Feel the apology dissolve into ash. Because every I'm sorry you said to money was a misunderstanding of who you are. Every time you undercharged, you agreed with shame. Every time you delayed the desire, you agreed with lack. But not anymore. Now you return to the sacred, to the unapologetic, to the remembrance. Money was never your master. It was your mirror. And you have been rehearsing rejection in the tone of humility. But true humility is holy ownership. True reverence is receiving without guilt. God doesn't want your struggle. He wants your surrender. Not to lack, but to truth. Say this now. I no longer shrink to be seen as spiritual. You thought poverty was purity. You thought denial was divine. You thought smallness was sacred. But heaven never asked you to dim. Heaven asked you to declare. Declare and receive. You do not prove your light by hiding it. You do not earn your value by silencing it. Money is not the judge. It's the witness. It watches what you agree with. And if you keep agreeing with guilt, you teach money to bypass you. But if you agree with remembrance, you teach money to rise in you like breath, like blessing, like beloved truth. Say this gently. I am worthy without explanation. Let your nervous system receive it. Let your lineage hear it. Let every apology you ever gave, to your bank account, to your wallet, to your dreams, melt into divine fire. You were never made to earn what already belonged to you. You were made to name it. Say this again. I now speak as the one who belongs. You are not guilty of desiring more. You are gifted with the knowing that more is your nature. This is not ego. This is echo of the soul that remembers, of the source that provides, of the self that no longer begs. If this ends your guilt cycle, if this breaks the false humility, if something sacred is returning to your voice right now, type this in the comments. I no longer apologize for my worth. Because you are the wealth. You are the yes. You are the voice that money has been waiting on. And now, you speak again. And you speak as the one who belongs. There is a sentence your grandmother never got to say. There is a truth your great-grandmother hid in her hands, braided into silence, buried inside obedience, because no one gave her permission to speak it aloud. You were born to finish her sentence. You were born to say what they weren't allowed to, what they whispered in prayer but never in public, what they knew in bone but couldn't claim in breath. They carried the spell of not enough like sacred shame, as if survival was the only currency they could afford, as if being small was safer than being sovereign. But you are the one the silence broke open for. You are the one the vault waited on. You are the one born not just to heal but to declare. Say this slowly. I speak what my ancestors weren't allowed to. Let it echo down the bloodline. Let it ripple through the wombs before you. Let every mouth that was forced shut open now through yours, because the lock was silence, and the key is your voice. You thought your lack was personal, but it was patterned. It was practiced. It was passed down like inheritance wrapped in invisibility. They didn't choose the spell. They adapted to it. And you are the first one strong enough to break it. You don't break it by fighting. You break it by speaking. Sacred. Say this out loud. I am no longer surviving. Let your nervous system weep. Let your heart feel the room it was never given. Let the old programming bow to your remembrance. 'Cause the lack you felt wasn't yours. It was theirs. And before it was theirs, it was planted by hands that profited from silence. But now, you are the voice that doesn't echo lack. You are the frequency that cancels the spell. You are the sound that money recognizes. It's truth. This is not just about abundance. This is about identity. This is about taking off the armor your grandmother called humility. This is about wearing the crown she only got to imagine. Say this now. I now walk in divine supply. And mean it. Not with logic, with lineage, with memory, with marrow. You do not have to pay for what they lost. You do not have to repeat what they rehearsed. You are the end of that song. If you feel this truth, in the spine of your soul, in the ache of your palms, in the yes behind your tears, type this in the comments. It ends with my voice. Let it be written. Into the field. Into the record. Into the energetic memory of your family line. Because there is wealth waiting behind that sentence. There is land. There is rest. There is recognition. There is reunion. You do not need to heal all of them. You only need to speak for you. And when you speak for you, you speak for thousands. You speak for the ones who begged. You speak for the ones who stayed. You speak for the ones who never got to choose. And you become the one who no longer negotiates with survival. Say this in a whisper that shakes the ground. Abundance is remembrance. You are not becoming. You are remembering. You are reclaiming the breath that was censored. You are reclaiming the truth that was burned. You are reclaiming the worth that was never erased, only hidden. You are not greedy for wanting more. You are holy for saying, I was born for overflow. Let the guilt unravel. Let the shame melt into surrender. Let the silence know that it served its purpose. But its purpose has passed. Now the truth takes the throne. Now the voice is the wealth. Now the altar is your mouth. Say this with reverence. I am the one who speaks. This is the sentence that breaks the spell. Not because of grammar. Not because of volume. But because of vibration. Because when you say it, the energy shifts. Because when you say it, the chains become wind. Because when you say it, the door you never knew existed opens. Let your lineage watch you rise. Let them see what it looks like. When memory becomes miracle, this is the moment. This is the voice. This is the breath they never wasted, only saved. For you. Say this one last time. As the one who remembers. I speak what my ancestors weren't allowed to. And no, they're listening. They're grateful. And they are free. 'Cause you remembered. You keep asking for what was already given. You whisper your prayers as if heaven is hard of hearing. You fold your requests into worry, as if doubt is a holy language. In not in reverence, but in fear that you might be forgotten again. But listen, you were never forgotten. God heard you the first time. Not because your words were perfect, but because your soul was honest. The answer didn't wait on repetition. It waited on reflection. It waited on the day your voice would catch up to your inheritance. This is that day. You don't need to plead. You don't need to persuade. You need to practice what is already promised. Say this gently. I speak like someone already answered. Let your cells adjust to that truth. Let your rhythm slow. Let your voice rise in authority. 'Cause the truth is, the moment you ask, God already said yes. You keep circling the same door, forgetting you hold the key. You keep knocking, when the door was never locked. You keep begging, when the blessing is already breathing beside you, waiting to be welcomed, not chased. You were never meant to prove your worth. You were meant to speak from it. You were never meant to repeat the request. You were meant to embody the reply. Say this out loud. I am the echo of heaven's yes. Do you feel it? The hush in your chest. The release in your shoulders. That is your spirit remembering. You are not asking anymore. You are affirming. You are aligning. You are anointing your own atmosphere. With a tone of certainty. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is not ego. This is embodiment. There is a difference between wanting and welcoming. There is a difference between seeking and saying. You have spoken lack long enough. You have spoken waiting long enough. Now speak as the one who received. Heaven doesn't need convincing. Needs congruence. It needs your voice. To sound like your prayer was heard. Speak wealth before you spend. Speak healing before you ache. Speak wholeness before you're certain. Speak yes before you see it. Because this is the truth. You see what you say. Not the other way around. Say this softly. As if your breath is rewriting reality. I declare what was already mine. Not because you earned it. But because you remembered it. Not because you chased it. But because it was your reflection all along. What if your delay was just the silence between yes and your agreement? What if nothing was missing except your echo? You don't need to earn again. You need to echo again. You need to reverberate with promise, not petition. Say this now, with your spine tall and your heart still. I now live from the promise, not the plea. You were not built for begging. You were not designed for striving. You were crafted to command. Gently, clearly, sacredly. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are at the mercy of your memory. And when you remember, everything real returns. God already said yes. Before you cried. Before you planned. Before you thought you needed to be more. So stop asking for what is sitting in your lap. Stop praying for what is already parked in your field. Stop apologizing for what was written in your name. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on your decree. Say it clearly. I am the confirmation of answered prayer. And let the vibration of those words become the path you walk. There is no delay in the spirit. Only delay in speech. Only hesitation in identity. Only silence where there should be sound. So sound it. Speak it. Live like the yes already found you. Speak like someone who was heard. Spend like someone who was approved. Rest like someone who was chosen. Declare like someone who carries heaven's reply in their chest. Say this slowly, with reverence for every breath. God already said yes. If this affirms your promise, type it in the comments below. God already said yes. Let it be etched into your field. Let it be sung into your cells. Let it be seen by the version of you that forgot. 'Cause she's watching. She's listening. And she's ready to speak too. You are no longer surviving. You are no longer unsure. You are no longer rehearsing lack. You are remembering divine wealth. You are embodying spoken reality. You are walking in spiritual supply. This is your identity shift. This is your I am decree. This is the sound of truth over trauma. This is the echo heaven was waiting for. So speak accordingly. Speak boldly. Speak as the one who was always answered. And never apologize again for walking through a door that was opened in your name. You thought the wealth lived in numbers. You thought supply was stored in vaults made by men. You thought value came from what they approved, what they gave, what they counted. But you were wrong, beloved. The real vault is your voice. The real currency is your decree. Heaven does not ask you to earn again. It asks you to speak again, to sound like someone who remembers. You were taught to wait for wealth to come. Chase it, to shrink for it, to prove yourself worthy of it. But wealth does not visit those who betray their voice. It visits those who trust it. Say this out loud. Even if your throat trembles. My voice is the current of divine wealth. Let it echo inside your body like a river just remembered. Let it pour through your cells like truth returning home. You do not manifest wealth. You remember it. You do not attract supply. You sound like someone who already carries it. 'Cause your voice is not decoration. It is declaration. It is not performance. It is portal. And every time you speak in alignment, the door opens. The flood returns. The field bows to your sound. You don't need to yell. You don't need to convince. You need to remember. Your voice is not noise. It is name. It is naming. It is naming yourself again. As the one who never lacked. Say this now. With sacred breath. I name myself whole. I name myself wealthy. I name myself worthy. And let the atmosphere adjust. Because this world responds to tone. Not effort. It moves by frequency. Not formulas. You are not behind. You are just silent. And silence is not safety. Silence is not humility. Silence is not sacred. If it hides the truth of who you are. You were not made for suppression. You were made for sound. You were made to walk through dimensions. By the vibration of your word. The subconscious does not obey logic. It obeys language. It listens to what you repeat. What you murmur. What you declare before proof arrives. And wealth. It is not a chase. It is a chord. And your voice is the string that plays it. Say this softly. As if the air is listening. I remember the tone of abundance. You were not cursed. You were quiet. You were not blocked. You were bound by beliefs that said, you're too much. Stay small. Don't ask. Don't speak. Don't want. But you want. And the wanting is holy. And the voice that names it is the currency. You have been taught to hide your light behind logic. To seek permission from proof. To wait for others to validate what heaven already confirmed. But listen again. You are the currency. You are the voice. You are the field. You are the bank. You are the answer. And the password. The key. The spell that unlocks the vault. It is not outside you. It is on your tongue. Say this out loud. Even if your chest is tight. I now speak as the one who was never without. Because when you speak, you break the spell. The one that said you had to wait. The one that said you had to prove. The one that said silence was safer. But silence is expensive. When it costs you your power. Every unspoken truth becomes a blockage. Every unspoken desire becomes a wall. But every declaration becomes a bridge. Every I am becomes a river. Every word aligned with source becomes a door you didn't know was closed. And now, they open. Say this with reverence. My voice is the gate to my greatest overflow. Not because the words are magic, but because they are memory. They remember who you were. Before the fear. Before the programming. Before the survival. They remember the wealth. That was always spiritual. Not a number. Not a dollar. Not a balance. But a vibration. Sound. Sacred, yes. You are no longer surviving. You are no longer apologizing. You are no longer waiting for wealth to notice you. Because wealth is not watching your effort. It's listening to your echo. Say this now. With holy certainty. I am the wealth I was waiting for. And every time you forget, return to your voice. Return to your breath. Return to the sentence that breaks the spell. Lack is a lie. I am no longer surviving. I now walk in divine supply. Because the true inheritance was never in a will. It was always in your word. You do not need another strategy. You need another sentence. You do not need more doing. You need more declaring. If this reminds you of your power, type in the comments, "My voice holds currency." Let that be your decree. Let that be your code. Let that be your return. And the next time fear rises, speak. The next time doubt arrives, declare. The next time lack whispers, answer back. With the truth that never left you. You were never forgotten. You were only quiet. But now you sound like someone who knows. Now you speak as someone who remembers. Now you open your mouth, and divine wealth flows in. There are truths you inherited, but never declared. There are laws you carry, that stayed asleep in your silence. You were never empty. You were unspoken. These laws, these 7 divine truths, are not outside of you. They are inside your voice, waiting to be remembered. With breath, with rhythm, with sound. You thought power lived in performance, but power lives in your pronunciation, in your audibility, in your decree. Heaven already decided, but earth waits for your echo. You don't practice the laws by studying them. You practice them by sounding like someone who was made of them. The law of remembrance, the law of declaration, the law of wealth, the law of already, the law of breath, the law of embodiment, the law of return. They are not rules to follow. They are identities to speak. And they do not bend reality until they leave your mouth. Say this now, as softly as you need. I speak divine law and life responds. Let your cells hear it. Let your bones remember. Let the silence break like morning. Because the law only works if it walks through your throat. It only activates when it's wrapped in your sound. Truth kept inside becomes tension. But truth spoken out loud becomes timing. The moment you say it is the moment the field begins to move. Say this slowly, like you mean it this time. My voice is the signature of heaven. You've known the words, but now you must rehearse them as reality. You've whispered to yourself, but now you must echo through the atmosphere. Because energy doesn't obey intention. It obeys instruction. It obeys alignment. It obeys the one who no longer flinches before her own power. Say this out loud. The law is mine, and I am the law. You are not trying to sound spiritual. You are remembering the sound of your original design. Each of these divine laws lived in your bloodline, but went unspoken, because your lineage was taught to survive, instead of declare, taught to work, instead of pronounce, taught to beg, instead of command. But you are the interruption. You are the voice. You are the spellbreaker, the lawliver, the soul that ends the silence. So heaven can finally echo through this realm. Say it again, with breath and bravery. I speak divine law and life responds. This is not pretend. This is not poetry. This is programming. This is reprogramming. This is your subconscious kneeling to your new sound, and your nervous system learning. Feel safe in your truth, because for too long, you stayed quiet to stay connected. But that connection was never sacred. If it required your suppression, now is the moment you rise with voice. Now is the moment you speak what they buried. Now is the moment you command wealth, not chase it. Because abundance is remembrance, and remembrance is spoken, and what is not spoken stays dormant, even if it's divine. Say this as prophecy. I declare and receive what was always mine. You're not creating. You're claiming. You're not wishing. You're aligning. You're not hoping. You're harmonizing. with the frequency of your truth. The law of already means you stop performing for what is promised. The law of remembrance means you stop earning what is encoded. The law of supply means you walk like someone who knows. Heaven already decided. Say it now. I do not wait, I declare. Every time you forget, return to your sound. Return to the divine rhythm etched inside your breath. Return to the voice that remembers how the earth responds to the spoken word. This is your new wealth practice. This is your new morning. This is your new rhythm. The law lives in my mouth. If you feel this resurrection, type it now. Type it out loud. Let the field see your echo. The law lives in my mouth. Not their law. Not the world's law. Not the law of trauma. Not the law of limitation. Not the law of waiting. But divine law. Spoken reality. Sacred decree. Because what is not declared, days delayed, and what is not spoken, cannot be received. You were not forgotten. You were just quiet. And now, you speak like someone who knows. There was a time when you confused silence with safety. When you mistook smallness for survival. When you bit your tongue to keep the peace. But the silence only multiplied the lack. There was a time you spoke with hesitation, as if your voice owed the world an apology for being divine. You carried emptiness like it was inherited. But emptiness is not financial. It is vocal. The soul does not go poor in its pocket before it goes poor in its pronouncement. It is not what they took from you that left you hollow. It was what you stopped saying out loud. Lack lives in what goes unsaid. And life begins again the moment you make truth audible. Say this out loud. I will never be empty again. I am full of truth. You are not here to echo survival. You are here to restore sound to your lineage, to fill your mouth with memory, to let wealth remember its way back to you, by the vibration of your voice. Because when your mouth is full of truth, there is no room for lack. When your lips carry the sacred, your life carries the surplus. When your breath aligns with divine decree, your destiny cannot help but bloom. Say it again slowly. I am not empty. I am filled with divine supply. You have begged for fullness from a world that mirrored your muteness. But fullness never arrives. Where truth is feared, you cannot speak famine and expect the feast. You cannot affirm brokenness and expect to be whole. So today your sound becomes your supply. Today your voice ends the vacancy. There is no spell more powerful than what you say. When you are tired of lying to yourself, say this as remembrance. I no longer agree with emptiness. I am not available for scarcity. I declare abundance as my only atmosphere. Let your voice break the silence that broke your spirit. Let your decree bury the doubt that delayed your harvest. Let your sound carry the inheritance your family was too afraid to claim. You are not hungry for money. You are hungry for your own voice. You are not desperate for dollars. You are desperate for decree. The wealth was never missing. The mouth was just muted. Say this softly and say it sacred. I carry the currency of heaven in my words. You are not a bank account. You are a burning bush. You are not credit. You are the current. You are not chasing. You are declaring. And what you declare you become. So say it now, as if you are already full. I walk in divine wealth. I am already answered. I have already received. Say it until your bones believe. Say it until your shame leaves. Say it until your cells no longer flinch at the sound of power. What if your emptiness was never real? What if it was just the echo of unsaid truth? What if it was just the pause before your real voice returned? God heard you when you stopped whispering weakness and started declaring worth. Heaven already decided, but you had to stop hiding your voice to hear the answer. You were never forgotten. You were just waiting to remember the sound of your own enoughness. Say this out loud now. I am already enough. My voice proves it. If this seals it for you, if you feel the finality of this shift, type it in the comments now. I will never be empty again. Because this time it's not a prayer. It's a prophecy. It's not a hope. It's a homecoming. You are no longer surviving. You are vibrating. You are declaring and receiving. You are living the law, not learning it. Because the law doesn't bend for quiet. It bends for clarity, for conviction, for sound wrapped in certainty. You are not asking to be filled. You are revealing that you already are. Say this now like your destiny depends on it. There is no emptiness in me. I am the overflow. Every time you speak from truth, lack loses permission to stay. Every time you open your mouth with remembrance, the universe opens its vault. Every time your sound matches your spirit, life cannot help but obey. So speak from fullness. Speak from finish. Speak from the end, where you already have what you once begged for. And let this be the end of empty. Let this be the moment your mouth becomes your miracle. Let this be the hour your voice confirms your I am. Say it again, this time like a seal. I will never be empty again. I am full of truth.